Reference to our first topic, that is culture and cultural theories. We will be working on that, and we have already discussed that in details. So it will be a sort of a recap of the lecture that I have already delivered. So, what is basically, um, what should I say? Uh, Culture and cultural theories. So, top of all, what is cultural studies? The book that I have shared with you, and in any reference that you are going to open with, the culture as a studies had not been a domain of universities since before 1920s. It all started as a study domain after 1920s. And how, what was the factors that initiated its studies? First of all, we will discuss that in the beginning of the book. In the introductory part of the book, I have discussed with you that any book about cultural studies is necessarily selective and likely to engender debate, argument, and even conflict. Why? The reason behind is that it's an umbrella terminology, because it's not a specific not just a specific terminology. It's an umbrella terminology, and there come a lot of ramifications and meanings under it. So different authors have written differently about it. Like, for example, he has discussed in this particular book with reference to a number of writers: Tony Bennett, Paul Gilroy, Lawrence Grossberg, Stuart Hall, Megan Morris, and Paul Willis would probably accept a description of their work as cultural studies. However, though extremely influential, neither Foucault, Derrida, nor Barthes would have described himself in this way, just as Gibson would not adopt this self-nomination day. This book is a selective account because it stresses a certain type of cultural studies. In particular, I explore that version of cultural studies which places language at its heart. So, with reference to cultural studies, what becomes a focus? Language. The kind of cultural studies influenced by post structuralist theories of language, representation, and subjectivity is given greater attention than a cultural studies more concerned with the ethnography of lived experiences or with cultural policy. So, nevertheless, both do receive attention, and I am personally supportive of both. Cultural studies does not speak with one voice. It cannot be spoken with one voice, and I do not have one voice with which to represent it. Okay. So this was the introduction about the cultural studies. Let me just focus. Okay, Ji. Now we shall move on to um, to the key concepts. Key concepts of cultural studies. We will be discussing them after the introduction to the culture and what is the concept of culture. So here, Stuart Hall, he was the initiator of the studies of cultural studies, and a West Indian born British thinker, initially associated with the New Left of the late 1960s. He was the director of Birmingham Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies from 1968 to 1979. It was during this time that an identifiable and particular field called cultural studies began to emerge. Stuart Hall is perhaps the most significant figure. in the development of British cultural studies. His work makes considerable use of Grams, and the concepts of ideology and hegemony. Through though he also played a significant part in deploying post-structuralism in cultural studies. So the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies has been reluctant to accept institutional legitimation. मकसद इसका ये है कहने का कि इसको इंस्टीट्यूशनल लेजिटिमेशन की एक्सेप्टेंस कल्चरल स्टडीज़ को बहुत रिलक्टेंस रही. The reason behind was that, nevertheless, the formation of the Center for Contemporary Culture Studies at Birmingham University, UK, in the 1960s was a decisive organizational instance. Since that time, cultural studies has extended its intellectual base and geographic scope. There are self-defined cultural studies practitioners in the USA, Australia, Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Europe. Formation of the culture studies working in different ways. British culture studies, I am pointing to the formation of culture studies Birmingham as an institutionally significant movement. Since its emergence, culture studies has acquired a multitude of institutional based courses, textbooks, and students. It has become something to be taught. It is difficult to see how it could be otherwise, despite the concern that professionalized and institutionalized cultural studies may formalize out of its existence. Anyways, the crux of the matter is that shaping itself as an institutional based study, it had been quite a struggle, and it basically initiated in Birmingham University since 1960s. You just need to keep this thing in your mind, or that there is a difference between cultural studies as a studies and the cultural theory as a perception. Because culture has been a topic of discussion in almost all the genres of or all the fields of studies. Like if you, for example, if you take sociology, if you take psychology, economics, and so many other fields, even literature, you will find shades of cultural studies in all of these social sciences based studies. But actual studies in itself needed some shape, and that shape was given by Stuart Hall. You just need to keep this thing in your mind, and then we will move on to the key concepts. So the basic so far encapsulate all the features of the basic what the culture studies is about. Culture studies is an interdisciplinary field in which perspectives from different disciplines can be selectively drawn on to examine the relations of the culture and the power. Cultural studies is concerned with all those practices, institutions, and systems of classifications through which there are inculcated in our population particular values, beliefs, competencies, routines of life, and habitual forms of conduct. The forms of power that cultural studies explores are diverse and include gender, race, class, colonialism, and cultural studies seeks to explore the connections between these forms of power. The prime institutional sites for cultural studies are those of higher education, and as such, cultural studies is like other academic disciplines. Nevertheless, it tries to forge connections outside of the academy with social and political movements. workers in cultural institutions and cultural management. Okay, now we will move on to the key concepts in cultural studies. The first key concept is culture and the signifying practices. What is meant by, first of all, we need to understand what is meant by signifying practices. Culture and signifying practices are both, correlated, we can say. Correlated in the sense that you just imagine this, that culture is a sort of a magnet you have in your hand. So this magnet has to attract certain elements towards it to show its strength, that how much strong it is. So the signifying practices work as the particularities that show the power of the culture. And the first and the foremost important thing in the concept of signifying practices is your language. Yes, this is language that we speak, that we think and we take for granted. That language is something, just common sense thing, that since we are born we are speaking it and we are learning it. So we just think that meanings are somewhere out there. No, meanings are not somewhere out there. Meanings are inscribed into the language with the help of the culture. So signifying practices, how they are formulated, this is something interesting to know, and it comes directly into the studies of cultural studies. Cultural studies would not warrant its name without a focus on culture. Hall puts it, by culture here I mean the actual grounded terrain of practices, representations, languages, and customs of any specific society. I also mean the contradictory forms of common sense which have taken root in and helped to shape popular life. Now, here are some words that need a little bit of explanation. This is the definition of Hall of cultural signifying practices. Number one is popular life. Number two is common sense, and number three is contradictory. Okay, fine. Now these words need a lot of explanation. Things we take wherever we think this is something common thing, or this is something common sense based, or anything that is popular, or anything that is contradictory. Why is it popular? Who makes it popular? Who translates that this is common sense, and who says that this is something popular? So these are the questions which are directly addressed in the field of cultural studies. Culture is concerned with the question of shared social meaning. Now this word is also very important, shared. Anything that is shared, that comes into the category of culture. Whether it's new or old, it's another discussion, but it has to be something shared. That is the various ways we make sense of the world. However, meanings are not simply floating out there. Rather, they are generated through science, most notably those of the language. So the science, this is what is directly coming into the study of cultural studies. You need to focus on that. The science and symbols, that how these are formulated. This is the basic, target of our attention. Representation. Now we all are, very much already familiar with the terminology. I don't think so. I just need to go into the details. In the book on page number 8, they have given the picture of the planet. What we know, our country is under the representation of the culture. Culture is a representation, and this is actually the satellite picture of the planet which is being given to you. Look, this is Earth. It has no boundaries. It has no colors like we associate with different cultures. It has its own credibility. But we have divided this very planet with the help of the representation into different cultures. So this is what the representation does to your culture. Then comes the point of materialism and non-reductionism. What does materialism has to do with the culture? It has a lot to do with the culture. In fact, it has everything to do with the culture. The more you invest into your culture, the more your culture becomes popular, the more your culture becomes strengthened. So I had already given the example of this association of the materialism with the culturalism in my classroom as well to you all. And if you remember that, I had asked you a question that why Punjabi culture is famous throughout the world. Why not Sindhi culture? Why not Pakhtun culture? Why not the other cultures? Specifically talking about the subcontinental regional cultural impacts on the world. It when it comes to the Punjabi culture, yes, it flourishes like a boom in the world, and the world recognizes and appreciates it. The reason behind is that a lot of materialism is being associated with this culture. The people who belong to this culture are rich people, and they are not just rich, they just feel freedom, as well as they feel free to invest into their culture. They make movies, they are taking the help of the media, which is also another feature of our course outline. With the help of the media, they popularize their culture, and this is the reason that they are strengthening their culture day by day, and we feel very proud to say ourselves Punjabis. So this is what is called the material and non-reductionism articulation. Now, cultural studies has deployed the concept of articulation in order to theorize the relationship between components of social formation. This idea refers to the formation of a temporary unity between elements that do not have to go together. Articulation suggests both expressing, representing, and a putting together. So what is meant by articulation? Expressing and putting together. Thus, representations of gender may be put together with representations of race or nation so far. So that, for example, nations are spoken of as female. Articulation, you can say, sort of a correlation strategy, that how you correlate one thing with another. Like association of all the nations, when you call like UK or America or Pakistan, we don't say he, we use the word she for them. For the nations, American, British, UK, or whatever, if you are going to talk about the nations, you simply use the gender she. Why? Because this is the method of articulation that has helped us to manipulate a particular ideology or a particular strategy that we assemble in reference to that. Now there comes the power key concept. I don't think so I need to explain it a lot. Why do we strengthen our cultures? We strengthen our cultures to establish power. Now let's do a little bit of reading of it as well. Culture studies writers generally agree on the centrality of the concept of power to the discipline. For most culture studies writers, power is regarded as pervading every level of social relationship. Power is not simply the glue that holds the social together, or the coercive force which subordinates one set of the people to another, though it certainly is this. It is also understood in terms of the process that generate and enable any form of social action, relationship, or order. In this sense, power, while certainly constraining, is also enabling. Having said that, cultural studies has shown a specific concern with subordinated groups, at first with class and later with races, genders, nations as age groups. And then popular culture comes, subordination is a matter not just of coercion but also of consent. So why does subordination come? What is meant by subordination? First of all, the thing is, subordination means that we do feel proud to call ourselves being part of a specific culture. So this is what is meant by subordination. So subordination does not come without consent. So this is something which is quite obvious and quite common sense based. Cultural studies has commonly understood popular culture to be the ground on which this consent is won or lost. As a way of grasping the interplay of power and consent, two related concepts were repeatedly deployed in cultural studies. Earlier texts, through which they are prevalent, uh, less prevalent these days, namely ideology and hegemony. By ideology is commonly meant maps of meaning that, while they purport to be universal truths, are historically specific understandings that obscure and maintain power. For example, television news produces understanding of the world that continually explain it. Now you can see it over here that why culture and media studies has been combined together, that culture study is not complete nowadays without mediation. And if you think about media only about electronic media, no, it's not like that. If you go into the past, you will find the book as a sort of media, the poems or the folk stories, they were also a media. So culture and cultural study is not complete without media. That is the reason why these two terminologies have been combined together. You need to understand that. Text and readers. This is another important key factor in cultural studies. The production of consent implies popular identification with the cultural meanings generated by the signifying practices of hegemonic texts. The concepts of text suggests not simply the written word, though this is one of its senses, but also all practices that signify. This includes the generation of meaning through images, sounds, objects, and activities. Since images, sounds, objects, and practices are sign systems which signify with the same mechanism as a language, we may refer to them as cultural text. So anything that is based on sound, that is based on gesture, that is based on images, that is based on objects, it comes directly into the text. And text, I have already discussed with you that text is not just a written word or a written book. Text is everything that it comes. Text is your gesture, text is your dressing, text is your speaking style, text is your living style. Everything is text. So it is all being a part of the study of culture studies. Subjectivity and identity. Subjectivity and identity is all, like we have already discussed, that subjugation does not come without consent, and when you consent, you become a subject. The moment of consumption marks one of the process by which we are formed as persons. What is to be a person, namely subjectivity, and we describe ourselves to each other, namely identity, became central areas of concern in cultural studies. So what is your identity? This question becomes the very center of cultural studies. How we come to be the kinds of people we are, this question is addressed directly in the cultural studies. How we are produced as subjects, how we become, we cannot deny the fact. You need to understand this thing, that we are not subjects, we are all subjects. So cultural studies basically focuses on that how we become subjects, or vice versa. If we claim that we are not subjects, even then if there is some contradiction to that, that study also comes into this field of study of cultural concepts. How we identify with the descriptions of ourselves as male or female, black or white, young or old. So these were the key concepts of cultural study. My part of culture and culture studies ends up here. In the second half of this book, I will discuss the theories. But so far, if you have any queries, you can ask. But I have a little bit of assignment for you, just to get to know whether you are listening to me or not. In the beginning of my lecture, I mentioned a word that Stuart Hall belonged to the new left wing, if I remember. So you need to tell me what is meant by new left wing. That's it. So I conclude my lecture, half of the lecture relevant to the culture and culture's theories over here.